There's something weird going on with Bitcoin right now because we saw the big crash down and it kind of initiated what we thought would, kind of trigger the dump down to 25, 24. But so far, Bitcoin is right back up at that resistance level, which really begs the question, is this yet another deviation where the market is going to return back into the range it was already in? Just like what we did up here, just like what we did down here, just like what we did up here, where we're just deviating above our resistance levels, deviating below our support levels before getting back in the game. And there's some good arguments for why this could be the case. I was already talking to you about it just in yesterday's video, which was published like 16 hours ago. So make sure you got the bell icon checked and you've subscribed and stuff like that so that you don't miss out on this very time-sensitive content. But what we have here now is, it's the fact that Bitcoin has been able to stay here sideways for, quite some time. Look, like when we were down here, we were sideways for about 14 hours. Since we've been up here, we've been sideways for about a day. So we've actually, as far as the time that we've spent since things started to get a bit more shit, we've spent a lot of that time up here. And what's really interesting is if we go to the 𝗬𝗢𝗥𝗙𝗟𝗏 dashboard, and we look at the long and short ratio, this is going to show us yesterday's data. So this was before the big move up, before we were able to sustain ourselves higher where we are. We were seeing readings of like 2 longs for every short position for retail traders. If we take a look at this now on the hourly time frame for retail traders, we can actually see quite clearly, literally just in the past days, we have seen a drop here where our ratio, looking at this ratio number, long short ratio, was 2.09. It dropped down to a low of 1.8. Quite a significant difference there. We were at previously 67.6 longs, and that dropped down to 64. Now, I want to make this clear. That's not a big drop, and that's not enough to justify things being reset, because that's what I want. I want to see things being reset. When you have the majority of retail traders trading the long side, typically, retail is going to lose money. 90% of the time, they're going to be wrong. They're going to lose 90% of the money in the first 90 days they trade. We already know this rule. We probably lived it. I've definitely lived it multiple times because I didn't fucking learn my lesson for a while. But retail traders are generally wrong. And when all of the retail traders kind of pile on one side, that actually creates a lot of liquidity where the market will do the opposite just to get these positions to close, right? And the only way you close a long position is by selling Bitcoin. So it actually dumps the market even more. You get the cascading waterfalls, the really, really quick sell-offs. And that's basically what it looked like we kicked off yesterday. And it does look a little bit like the long and short ratio is reeling itself back in. Now, it is still 1.8 longs for every short, which is very far away from 1 to 1. But we are seeing an improvement here. And again, what I think is really interesting is what would happen if Bitcoin does actually break into this range. I'm going to cover a lot of really interesting charts with you, but before I even get to that, let's just take a second to understand what the implications are of Bitcoin recovering this resistance level. It would mean that we would be range bound again. We would be back within this same range that we were stuck in for 60 days. And that might, for a minute, sound a little bit annoying. But when you consider how much money you can make if that happens, this is actually quite exciting. And I'll show you why. It's because we have this range that stretches all the way up to our resistance level up here. If I have to be very conservative, that resistance level comes down to this area right here where we had all these hits, but I'm not going to be that conservative. I think it's very fair to say that Bitcoin comes up to here. 30,000, 29.8, whatever, it doesn't matter. From our current area of support, we're kind of above it now, support, resistance, whatever. From our current level to this resistance area is an 11.4% range, which in and of itself doesn't sound that crazy, but with a bit of leverage, this turns into something really interesting. And you don't have to leverage this up pretty high to see nice returns from an 11% move. 11% at 5x is a 55% profit. And that in and of itself is pretty damn good. 55% profit. 10K turns into 15.5K. Pretty damn good return right there. And that's just if Bitcoin swings right back up to the top. Now, if it swings down to the bottom again, we might see another big move to the downside, a 10% move to the downside. So again, with a bit of leverage, this gets really exciting. And what's even better than that is how the price action actually behaves after a deviation. See, we had a deviation right here. We had a deviation down here. And in both instances, when the deviations resolved themselves, when we got back above the level, or in this case, back below the level, the move was quick. The move was sharp in both directions. Generally, when we get a deviation, we have very sharp moves afterwards. And so what that could mean is if we're going to be range bound and if we're going to be playing out a deviation and then correcting back into the same range, it's probably going to happen quite explosively. It's probably going to be a really big deal for the market. I'm not saying this is going to happen. We're going to cover this in depth for the rest of the video. So for the keyboard warriors that are going to watch the first 5 minutes and base their entire life conclusions off this video, don't do that. Fuck off this channel if that's you. This isn't for you. But if you're a little bit more nuanced and you understand that, we've got to really flush these things out, we've got to explore both sides fully, we're not leaving any stones unturned, then this is the channel for you. We're really thorough. We're really careful. Yeah, the videos are going to turn out a little bit long. Fuck me. I like to pay attention when I'm deciding where I put my money in these markets. So I'm not going to apologize for 30-minute videos or 20-minute videos. If you don't like them, go watch another channel that'll give you 4-minute shitcoin analysis for the rest of your days. They'll definitely be happy to collect your affiliate income. So go there if you don't like this in-depth content. But if you do appreciate it, do me a fucking huge favor here. Smash up the likes for this very thorough analysis. I want to cover some really, really cool charts with you. I also want to highlight that if you want to take advantage of this beautiful volatility, you have BingX available to you with a beautiful offer here. If you deposit 10K, you get $500 free in cash and over $5,000 of other bonuses available for you to claim, where you can trade these markets. You can trade crypto markets, indices, meaning S&P 500, UK's FTSE 100, commodities, gold, oil, for example, Forex, stocks. You've got Apple, Tesla, and so on, all available to trade without KYC. So if you want to trade on a platform that's not going to ask you for a picture of yourself, not going to ask you for a picture of your ID, BingX is your place to be. You don't have to do KYC. You have access to all of these spectacular markets and over $5,000 in bonuses to claim as well. And if you want to trade on Bybit, this is going to be my favorite platform in the space and has been for years. These guys do require KYC, but there are some benefits to it. When you submit a picture of yourself and stuff like that, you can prove that you own the account, which means that if for whatever reason, years down the line, you lose access to your account, it's actually possible for them to verify that you are the owner of your funds. So it has some benefits as well. These guys are, in my opinion, the best in the game, and that hasn't changed. So check them out. They're going to give you up to $30,000 in free trading ammunition. That is free money, which you can deploy back into the markets, and any profits you generate are yours to keep from that free money, which is very, very cool. So check them both out. They're both linked in the description down below. BingX here for no KYC, Bybit for that huge bonus. And let's come back to the market and just talk about where this thing could take us. Now, first of all, if we're not going to play out this deviation, if we fall lower, where are our support levels? 8% lower from where we are right now, we have the $24,000 range. This is one of our first best areas of support in the range. I'm very optimistic about this support level. If we fail that, and if we don't find support in the levels immediately below it, the next key area on my chart is going to be 21,500. This has been a really important level for me for a while. It's actually, coincidentally, or maybe not, the exact price level that I opened my $200,000 profit long position on Bitcoin at. I opened it right here at 21.5. Why did I do that? Because this is a critical level for the market. So I would definitely be expecting support down there if we get there. That is a 19% drop away. Now, I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen. And so I want to talk to you about why I think Bitcoin is actually finding some support right now. The reason I don't think we're going to be dropping that low is because 25K support in between is really strong. It's not something that I would just fade and decide not to pay attention to. This is a really important level on the chart, and I don't think that we're going to lose it. And if we do lose it, I don't think that we'd fall substantially lower, because there's a lot of good support below that as well, where we can find some nice little pockets of pockets of support. But more to the kind of deviation that we're playing out now. Let's look at why we might be finding some support here. Why we might be okay. The first thing that I wanted to show you is this daily falling wedge. These are pretty bullish patterns, and it's basically what it says. It's a chart pattern where the price is falling lower. We're setting lower lows and lower highs. It's actually tightening. The lines are coming together, which is why we're calling it a wedge. And it ranges a 13% price range. So if we get a breakout, say from this point right here, a 30% move puts us at 32k. We clear our high, and it's a pretty bullish pattern. Now, what I really like about this pattern is that, first of all, no one's talking about it. Everybody is aware of Bitcoin losing its sideways range, maybe dropping down to 25. I'm hearing that sentiment everywhere. I'm not seeing this chart discussed anywhere, but it is valid. 1, 2, 3, 4 resistance hits. 1, 2, 3, 4 support hits. These two trend lines have been respected so far. We're on the daily time frame. If I zoom in even more, you'd see even more confluence around these levels. Let me see if I can actually draw that for you on this chart just while we're here. So here's the resistance level, looking something a little bit like this, and here's our support level. I'm not sure exactly where to draw this from, looking something a little bit like this. That's broadly speaking what we're in. You know, and so you can see, I mean, very, very clear. We have individual touches on this level. They're pretty well spaced out, both as support and resistance. This is more valid than people think. Most people don't even know it exists. So there you go. Smash up the likes just for that if you do appreciate that. Let me know in the comments if you were aware of this, because I want to know if I'm actually still bringing new things to the table. Do I still have it in me, ladies and gents? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. But also the daily Ichimoku cloud. Again, we're on the daily time frame here, and that cloud is big. And that's exactly where we started to pull one of our bounces from. So, you know, these are good signs, right? Like, I mean, this is something that shows me this market has, you know, it's not necessarily in the setup for a big sell-off right now. It's actually potentially in a pretty good place. If we move on to this chart right here, we do have some problems though. And this is where it gets even more interesting. See, like on these large time frames, if I zoom out to the daily, throw on the Ichimoku cloud, it's super clear that we have support, and so far this big wick, and this was a big wick. Wow, we just got the close, didn't we? Yeah, we got this. This was yesterday's candle. So what we actually did here, guys, this is a big deal. What we actually did here was on the daily candle, we formed a big bullish hammer. All right, the wick came down very, very low, but the candle closed much higher. So that's really bullish. That's a very, very bullish candle. Generally, the next candles do move up unless the market is very weak. You know, but there's good support here. The problem is that, you see, because we've trended down here over this last kind of week, if we zoom in with the same indicator, the Ichimoku cloud, we're going to start finding resistance overhead. Here's some resistance on the 4-hour time frame, quite far away. We don't need to worry about that right now. But here's the resistance on the 1-hour time frame. This is super close. This is super close to where we are with our trend right now. And it's, you know, a similar image to what I was showing you right here. The chart's just a little bit older. You know, I mean, we've got some potentially really, really heavy resistance up ahead here on the 1-hour time frame. We're already finding resistance in it right now, and so that is definitely something that I think, you know, I wouldn't, again, this is not something that I would play off or just kind of ignore or anything like that. But again, 1-hour time frame is not, you know, the be all end all for Bitcoin. I would definitely take the 4-hour time frame more seriously, and that is still a little bit further away. What's not further away is EMA resistance. That's pretty close. Take a look at this on the 4-hour time frame right here. We've actually, again, not only with the Ichimoku cloud on the 1-hour, but also with the EMA ribbon on the 4-hour, we've been rejected by that. On the 1-hour time frame, our EMA ribbon probably has lost its spread now. Yeah, we've lost our spread. This isn't particularly useful right now, but 4-hour time frame, pretty bearish. That's a lot of overhead resistance that we are facing from a key momentum indicator. Again, maybe the market has the strength to beat it, but that is a pretty big deal. In the daily time frame too, we're getting the bearish crossovers now. You know, our short-term moving averages are falling below our long-term moving averages, meaning that the short-term trend is changing. This doesn't mean the trend has changed, but it does mean it's changing. And if we don't pull it back very soon, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in some serious trouble. So, you know, that is a long list of things that are pretty concerning for the market. Here's something that's a little bit better. With this same kind of ascending channel or whatever the case may be that we're in, and we're still broadly in it because we're looking at the weekly time frame here, these have been pretty bullish for Bitcoin. Take a look at this right here. Back in 2017, we formed a really nice ascending channel here for Bitcoin with this parallel channel tool, and bam, we exploded out of it. Over here, 2018 falling into 2019. Same deal here. We exploded out of it. Here's another one in 2020. Same deal. We exploded out of it. This one's pretty steep. This one's a little bit more steep for sure. But if we are going to be exploding out of it, it would be the same setup that we've already used to our advantage many times before. And again, when we've got signs that are, pretty obvious like this, I don't like to ignore them very, particularly readily. I think that these kind of things are worth paying some attention to, seeing what this market has been able to do off this level here, seeing the fact that we've been able to hold this area, that yet another daily candle is going to be closing above the support level. It's really screaming deviation. Now, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin isn't weak. Bitcoin is in a bad position. The fact that we got here in the first place, okay, fine, we've recovered back up, but we shouldn't have been hit down in the first place if we were going to be, particularly, quite bullish right now. But I'll forgive it if we're able to recover above this resistance with a little bit more certainty. If not, this is still a resistance area. We can trade here for a while and then still find resistance. Let's not be surprised if the market does that. Like I said, it's only a matter of time until these indicators, which are already providing resistance, until they catch up to us. On the hourly time frame, our time is basically up. On the 4-hour time frame, we have a few days, and we might not use those few days because that's a long time, and the cloud is much higher. So, it's not all horrible. It's not all doom and gloom for Bitcoin, but we're really going to have to see this deviation continue to materialize very quickly if we want to stay optimistic about the market, because the fact is, if we do lose this support level, and we are hanging on by a thread right now, if we do lose this support level, it is still the same drop that we have to get. We have to get the same drop down to 24.25. I can't see the market finding support anywhere in between, and so that is going to be a big kind of, it's a nice 10%. I mean, again, as far as the trading range goes, this is paradise. This is a resistance level. It's the level that makes most sense to short Bitcoin right now for people that are bearish. There's still a long list of reasons to be bearish. The fear and greed index is still too high for my liking anyway. Long and short ratio too high for my liking as well. And the dollar index chart, this is paused. This is one of the big reasons Bitcoin is performing well. And I covered this with you in the last video that I made. But, we're going to see this market reopen here within 24 hours. And I mean, if the dollar keeps moving up, Bitcoin is probably just going to lose all of the gains that it's been able to produce, since the dollar stopped trading, because that's when this move really happened. Is the dollar stopped trading, and then that was when a lot of Bitcoin's sunshine kind of really started to come in. So once this market reopens tomorrow, we could see some more blood in the streets. So it's not something that I would brush off particularly easily. Again, what's really cool is the ability to trade all of these markets without even having to worry about your privacy, which is a basic fucking thing, but it's 2023 and everyone's forgetting about it these days. But I'm not forgetting, and I know many of you guys in the crypto space care about this thing too. That's why you're in the crypto space. You care about sovereignty, and if you're like me and you like to have your options open, BingX is a great place to consider. Again, with the link in the description down below right here, you have over $5,000. I'm sorry, right here, you have over $5,000 in bonuses to claim, and you don't even have to do KYC to access all of these beautiful markets and trade them with leverage. So that is worth checking out. Bybit, of course, also there for those of you that want to trade on my main platform. That is worth checking out as well. But yeah, I mean, deviation is the play right now. It's still on the edge. If we do drop down, I'm still seeing the same support level. If we do manage to recover back up, we're back in the game. It's the same sideways range. Obviously I want to see a resolution to this relatively soon. It would be a little bit annoying that we're back in the range, but what wouldn't be annoying is the big volatility that we would probably get. That would probably be quite fun. I'm sure that would spill over into the altcoin market and things would get really interesting there. I'm actually about to make a video on Salmonation, believe it or not. I'm really diving into the shit coins here with the second YouTube channel. So if you do want to see that video, follow this top link in the description down below and it'll take you right there. You'll see that video right after this one goes live. So I hope you have enjoyed this one. If you have, do me a favor, smash up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. Been a good one, a little bit of a late upload, but I hope that's been okay for you guys. Check out the links in the description. $70,000+ in bonuses available when you follow my links in the description down here. BingX and Bybit are going to be two of the best ones to check out. OKX, also super old exchange. These guys have been around for a long time, no issues. They're also giving you up to 30K in bonuses. So check them all out, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.